test, 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 test. Button and the speak. Could we have a test with the slide? Please. Por favor. Wonderful. ¿Este qué es? ¿Este qué es? No. Ah, okay. I don't know.
Let's have a picture together. Come on. Let's go to some fun before it even starts.
I'm not sure if you have to do something with the computer before. Ah, mais ça marche pas, il est fermé. It's closed. No, I don't think so. Normally they have everything there.
Okay, so good luck. I'm going to see.
Yeah, I understand. I understand. Okay.
Maybe I will just.
If there is, yeah, with pleasure. Not too close. Seems to be okay. Okay. And here we go. Sharing. had to do it, no? Prisoners of the shame.
¿Cómo nos acomodamos?
Como quieres, yo puedo empezar aquí y
Sí.
cambiar, pero así que hay un micrófono que se puede.
Primero. Ya.
Hi everyone, do you hear me correctly? It's okay. Solo unas palabras en español para agradecer.
I'll say a few words in Spanish to thank my friends in Spanish for a very warm welcome.
But my wife is Spanish, so I know a few words in Spanish. So just beginning to explain the French project we are speaking about today. This was a big year about open content, open access, about images of artworks, because we have launched two projects that we consider as quite important because they are national ones, and because we are politically speaking into an area and a period when government is asking itself some questions about accessibility of national images. National images are national collections images. So for a little bit of the context, quickly, when we speak about open contents, we speak of online publication and availability under open licenses or cultural and heritage, contents with no restriction of reuse for internet users. This principle is important because we know that a lot of GLAM thinks that some licenses like Creative Commons and CNZ with restriction on commercial use or derivative works are suitable and they can call that open content. But this is not the case for us, and we need to make clear these points to help them to do the good relevant policies about opening images. Sorry, it doesn't work? Okay, so about the legal and scientific context, quickly, we have in France a culture of contradiction, and you can see that about in law. We had in 2015 a law that permit to cultural institutions to get some money with the numerization, digitalization of the images of artworks in the public domain. So you can guess this is not our philosophy. And we have another law who is called Le Maire Law, Republic, Digital Numeric, Digital Republic. That's bring the principle of open data for the data of every sector, including the culture. So this is a contradiction for us because we consider the image like a data. So we can't separate the metadata and the image of that can support this metadata. We have only a few works about open content, European one and French one, so not so much works that help us to convince all the authorities for the open content. The cultural context is quite difficult too. We have a progressive involvement of GLAMs into open content, but this is slow. And the general policy is that they want to continue making money, but they don't really make some money with the numerization. This is a paradox, another paradox. And we are trying to do lobbying about the fact that the most important thing is the use of the images and not the sale. There is a lot of debates within the GLAMs about usefulness of open content, and we are in the position to help them understand what are the issues. Quickly, there are some constraints, the complex copyright legislation, as you've seen, and legal and political confusion over the status of digitization. And you have the French flag that we can explain with an imitation of big GLAMs like the National Library of France. A lot of library imitate the National Library, and the National Library is making money with the numerization of the public domain. We have a lack of the strong policy in byboards. If we hope the open content policy, that has to be made by one person in the government who is really convinced of the interest of open content. And for the moment, this is not the case. So we have built two big projects. Well, big. For us, it's big because we are an association, and all the chapters are not so well famous than Wikipedia, obviously. But the first one is a French observatory. There is an observatory of open data in France since a long time, but we didn't have an observatory for the open content practices, and that's quite tricky because we don't have the possibilities to make big survey about the use of images online. We don't have the same how do you say that? The same support than the Open Data Observatory. So his mission is to acting as a specialist and a point of contact for public authorities and GLAM, and participate in action of promoting and defend the open contents. We are like a dozen of persons who are involved into this observatory, and the first step is to propose an annual letter about the state of the open content in France, and we want to share some every 3 months a newsletter about open content. As the public policies and the GLAM in France be updated about what is working with open content initiatives among GLAM in France. So the first support of this work is a survey that we made with an agency in 2021. And we made a survey about open content practices, and obviously the use of licenses like Creative Commons, or the local one who is called Etalab. This is a French license, it's like a CC BY license. And we made a survey about what do you use as a license, copyrights or Creative Commons licenses? What is the degree of opening? And I don't know the word in English, this is Antoine, but we go more accurate at the end of the survey to explain what are the practices today with some of the GLAMs into open content, what are the interests, and what are the constraints to go further. The second project is a label dedicated to open contents. This one is maybe the most important one today because it's very concrete. You have a theoretical part before, but to present the the big issues is that a label that certificates the GLAMs who are involved into an open content policy and who has contributed to Wikimedia projects. So that was the two first criteria to obtain the label. We wanted that there is a licenses compatible to Wikimedia projects to define the open content, and we wanted that the GLAM has done at least one contribution on whatever the Wikimedia project. And this is the first level of labelization you can get. So this is open for any cultural institutions and scientific ones. So university, obviously, museum, libraries, archives, they can applicate. We had 18 applications for the first year, but we'll go after what are these GLAMs. The principle of the label is built around a charter that we have wrote a charter among principles, 7 or 8 principles that they need to sign before applicate to the label. Concretely, the label is divided in 3 levels. The first one is the bronze level. This is the easier to get, but this is not so easier because, as I said, you need as a GLAM to have open your collections into free licenses and free licenses compatible to Wikimedia. So at least the CC by SA or another like equivalents. So you have the 3 level, and you can see that each level is has a difference with the exclamation points. This is the design, general design of the label. To explain you concretely about the indicators and criteria. For the first level, you have to adopt free licenses compatible to Wikimedia projects. So the board member will analyze quickly if this is the case or not. And you need to communicate, obviously, around this policy, because we find it really important and essential to communicate when you do such a policy. Give you a little example there. We have some regional archives that made some open content since many years, but the public is now aware about that. They don't know that all the images in high quality is really available for free. So this is important to communicate. And we have a second part called the optional indicators. And optional because you have to choose at least one criteria among 4 propositions. Or you can upload to Wikimedia Commons or Wikidata. You can make a contribution to any Wikimedia project relevant for the GLAM. You can organize a training session for the staff members of your GLAM, or you can organize an event like Editathon, Datathon, etc. So they can choose, they can pick one. If they do more, this is the perfect, and they can hope to go further at the next level. So I will not show you the silver one, this is too long, but the gold one is really the impact I was wanting to reach with my partners. The label is a reward, and I can't hide the fact that this is a great tool for me too, because that helped me to support all the partners and all the GLAM partners to have some steps to go further with the Wikimedia project. And this goal of the goal one is that we want the Wikimedia project into the job descriptions, into the strategic plan of the GLAMs, museum, archive, and libraries. We need something very formal that explains that the Wikimedia projects are integrated into the practices. And this is really difficult to obtain for most of them, because there is a lot of documentalists and archivists that are seen like mad scientists. This is their own words. I've heard these kind of words in their mouth. I'm considered like a mad scientist because I'm working on Wikimedia projects, and the others are not really interested in into that. So the principle of the label is to help these staff members to legitimate their practices for the direction, for the local collectivities. So this year was really important because that was the first year for labelization. We have the first certifications, and we have 16 GLAM certified, mixing archives, libraries, and museums. 120 attendees. That was quite a really great year for us because I was not expecting so much for a small label from our association, as we don't work as the Ministry of Culture. This is the good point, but because you can do whatever you want for the first 2 years, you begin small, but you can really put your own criteria and basis. 9 GLAMs into the bronze, 5 GLAMs into the silver, and 2 GLAMs into the gold. This is the Museum of Saint-Rémy of Toulouse. This is mainly an archaeological museum. And Les Champs Libres of Rennes, that include the Museum of Bretagne. They both have worked into Wikimedia projects since more than 10 years, and they included every kind of Wikimedia project, and there are staff members that are working into that since many years too. That was just after a recall of a reminder of how you can organize board members when you want to build a label. This is quite difficult. We were 7 volunteers to work, to analyze. Well, I'm not 7 as I'm a staff member of Wikimedia France, but the others were volunteers. And we need to organize very well for this project. And this kind of do-it-yourself authentication, because we have to make the PDF form with our own way. I didn't have technical competence for that. Working with LibreOffice board created with many boards to analyze properly the applications, and we were really preparing everything by our own way for the first year, and that was really passionating to do that. Little weird, but passionating. The main difficulty is that we had some cases that we are debates, some long discussions about cases, because even if you are really accurate criteria and indicators, you find people that are more into the process and others that are more permissive state of mind. So you have always debates, whatever the level of the criteria. And there is other kind of difficulties because we are a small team, and this is difficult to provide all the support you want to the candidates. That's what we have for another idea for the next year. Like some observations, we really need a supervisor. I am the GLAM project manager in Wikimedia France, but I would like to have someone else to help working on that project, maybe for the next year, not, I guess, 25, not 24. And we had the chance to have a very diverse board. There are mixed city, 4 women, 3 men, or I don't remember this is the reverse, but we have some person that different competencies, different works, agencies, Wikimedia France, and Creative Commons, etc. So finally, how the GLAM displayed the label. In fact, this is really simple. We wanted the GLAM to put the label on their collection site to show the others and show the public that they were rewarded from the label, free label culture. You can see with the Museum of Rennes that on the bottom of the site you have Culture Libre, this is free culture. They have built not only subjects about free culture, but among open content in general, and they are put the free label, the label Culture Libre into that menu. So another example is maybe the most simple to reach, that The Museum Saint-Raymond of Toulouse, the gold rewarded one, has put the label Culture Libre between Office de Tourisme and another labelization. So this is really interesting, and this is the kind of practice we want to reach. And finally, quickly, the Les Champs Libres de Rennes, they have built not only pages about a mention of the label at the bottom of the site, they have built several pages explaining all the initiatives they have launched, and they speak obviously one entire pages around the label, around the cultural label. So this is really a great valorization, great diffusion about this project, about their own projects of open content. So, I guess I'm late, a bit late. Yeah, okay. So I will finish. Next goal is to involve, mainly is to involve the volunteers into the boards. We have 2 new volunteers from the Wikimedia project. That was not the case last year. This is very important. And then at the national goal, we want to go further with lobbying with Ministry of Culture, because we really are into the most important years when we can really do something, maybe. So it's all for me. Thank you.
Hola, buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a todos. Soy Vania Graneros, bibliotecaria archivística, bibliotecaria archivista de profesión, y desde el 2019, gracias a un wiki recorrido desarrollado en mi ciudad, soy wikimedista. Con esta pequeña introducción inicio ahora sí mi presentación, llamado Pequeños Pasos para...
It's called Small Steps for Large Projects. And I would like to tell you a bit about our institutional background. The Fabia Machicado Vizcarra Foundation was created in 1965 with the initiative under the initiative of the heirs of this person, in order to protect a family tradition and a paseña tradition called Las Flaviadas. These Flaviadas are music sessions that are held every Saturday afternoon since 1922. Throughout the years, over 100 years now, these have consolidated as a tradition from the city of La Paz. This is why we say paseña in Spanish. So we're trying to fuel people's passion when it comes to expressing this person's love for classical music and for universal music in general. These sessions were so successful that this became a public space where people would go without having been invited. In 1986, when Flavio Machicado dies, this had become a huge tradition. And in 2014, it was declared as intangible heritage of the city of La Paz. And also, the building where this is held has been declared as urban architecture heritage of La Paz. As an institution, it starts working in 1995. Have a look at this photograph. Here you can see what the music sessions were like by a fireplace. And this information unit began to be consolidated first as a paseña tradition. And this process started in 1995 in order to consolidate this tradition. And as of 2010, it became an information unit. It hosts a library and a library of records with 20,000 records. It has a historical archive with 15 foundations, and also we have over 500,000 vinyl records. Part of that was his collection, and also other collections that had been donated. As Wikimedians in Bolivia, we start working by organizing a workshop called Cultural Mediation, Libraries and Free Knowledge. We tried to include students, information science students or other people who were interested in learning more about free knowledge. This starts in 2017 with the workshop, an editathon workshop by Wikipedia in Sopocachi. This is where the library is located, this information center. This is done in order to upload content, photographs, so that we could upload more information on Wikipedia. This area has inspired several artists. So here lies the importance of being able to share information. And also teaching content creation tools that will bring people closer to the material. And that's what we did with the collection. Finally, or after this, as I said, we organized other activities. Two major activities. Our participation in the long night of museums. The people that participated in the cultural mediation workshop, libraries and free knowledge, this workshop actually, shared information about this unit, because on that night, every cultural institution, mainly museums, open up the doors in order to invite people to participate in their activities. Here are some pictures taken during that night. People learned about our work, about free knowledge, and about the information unit. This type of workshop allowed us to build a connection with people that work in the area of culture and also with information units. The second activity we participated in, and here's some pictures as well of our volunteers that participated in the cultural mediation workshop. After this, we also participated in the Book of Nights, which is an evening where we provide information about libraries. This is an initiative of the town council of my city in order to promote libraries, because people don't use libraries that much. And this is why this activity was organized. The dynamic was very interesting, using queries, and this was done by visitors according to area, and people scanned the queries in order to get more information from Wikipedia about artists and writers. Also, we have a partnership with the foundation. So we organized an activity called .wiki. This is held every Thursday afternoon. it's important to have the necessary documents when creating content, and it's something we truly enjoy doing. This is us editing the information. And this helps us reflect about our work with self-managed institutions and why we're working with them also. First of all, the reality of information units in Bolivia is actually having access to documents, having access to working with institutions is a bit difficult. But we have this partnership with the Flavio Machicado Vizcarra Foundation. So this partnership has allowed us to implement specific projects. And it has also projects. As I said before, access to information is important. As we work with them, we can work directly with them. Also, they are willing to release content, and that's very important. We also have the Free Papers and Bytes project. Just a small anecdote. Esila Villa is one of the first women lawyers in Bolivia. Was one of them. A user requested information about her. There was no information about her anywhere. So this user wanted to write a Wikipedia article about her. So she asked for help, because when she was trying to find information, she reached the Fabio Machicado Vizcarra Foundation catalog, and she found a document that was very hard to find. So through this, she had access to the information thanks to her connection with Wikimedia and volunteers. And also this article allowed people to know more about Esila Villa, and this information was missing on the web. So this truly inspired us to develop a digitalization project, so that we could have the necessary information. First of all, we decided we wanted to work with women from the 20th century, and we wanted to upload their work. And in this way, we would be able to make information more democratic and visible. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Camila Neumann, and I am Open Culture Manager at Wikimedia Poland. Oh, yeah, and I need to show you my presentation. Sorry, okay. Yeah, so today I want to share with you the lessons that I learned during my 2 years of work for Wikipedia as a GLAM Wiki person. I used to work also for a cultural institution for the 8 years, so I somehow combined the experience of GLAM and Wiki. What I don't want to do today, okay, it's just what I don't want to do today. I don't want to tell you what to do or what not to do. It's rather an inspiration. I want to show you the lessons that I learned and encourage you to ask yourself questions and create a space rather for retrospective insight and maybe go out of the box. Well, my first thought on my 2 years for GLAM Wiki is you are not Wikipedia, you only work for it. Which means that you don't have to collect the sum of all knowledge on GLAM Wiki at once. You don't have to know everything. I'm a natural learner. I like to learn things, I like to collect things, but I think that the centralized knowledge in Wikimedia movement can be very overwhelming. So after 6 months of my work for Wikimedia Poland, I have a thought that if I would have known how much new things I would have to learn, I'm not sure if I would have taken this job. So, you know, it was totally overwhelming for me. But I was lucky because I got support from other experienced people like Daria Cybulska from Wikimedia UK, and she really helped me to better understand the world of Wikimedia. It was a reminder for me that learning from other people is the way I like to learn, that there is a great value behind conversation with the people who understand the work we do. So I wanted to ask you a question. How do you learn? Are you overwhelmed with the GLAM Wiki knowledge? Do you think you are an expert, or maybe you don't? Can you somehow admit to yourself that you don't have to know everything, and that it is okay to ask people and look for support? So yeah, another. So it also, this experience with peer-to-peer learning at the beginning of my work, it reminded me that I'm not alone. I can look for support of people who understand me, and it is really worth to build your international network. I think that at least my job, and I believe that mostly your jobs, gives you a lot of autonomy. And for me, autonomy is connected with great value. This is the way I really like to work, to have the freedom to decide. But on the other hand, it is a great responsibility because we have like a lot of decisions to make. And sometimes I just, yeah, I had a feeling to, you know, feel that I was feeling alone. But keep remembering that we can ask other people is very important. So the question is also, how do you build your international network? Who are the people you trust? Who are the people you connect with when you have problems, when you face challenges? I also believe that learning from others is very important, and I needed to find my way of learning in Wikimedia movement. As I told you, I like to learn a lot, but it's not easy to navigate through the decentralized knowledge, so I had to find out what is the most effective way for me to learn. So I like talking with people. And when I went to the EU GLAM coordinators meeting in Prague. It was like first time I could meet other GLAM people, and it was extremely valuable meeting. So we could have discussions and build relations. But after that, I felt that I want something more, and we initiated the online meetings of the European GLAM Wiki coordinators. And today we are like meeting regularly, and this is the way that I learn, and I really value this space because it gives me possibility to get inspired. It helps me to avoid mistakes, or at least not to repeat them. Yeah, and I believe that it is very important to find your way of learning. So my question is, how do you learn from others? Like, what is your way of learning? What do you do to learn from others' experience? So learning from others also allowed me to experiment using the experience of others. So it somehow helped me to get out of the box. I have one example to share, because we were like problem how to organize training on editing Wikipedia, because you can see the slides, like the pictures. The first picture shows the training in National Museum in Krakow, and it was like so long training, there was only theory, and people just got bored. So I read at GLAM Wiki newsletter. It was a lesson learned shared by Denmark Wikimedia chapter, and they somehow encouraged me, their experience encouraged me to make this introduction, this theory part, very short, and to encourage people to start editing as fast as it is possible. So on the second picture, you can see the training in Wawel Castle, and we had there like 3 hours only of training, and people just started editing, and I think it makes a difference. But maybe I wouldn't find out it if, you know, without this lesson learned from Wikimedia Denmark. And the third picture shows the training in Czartoryski library. It's a part of the National Museum in Krakow. And then we went further. We engaged people who are really close to, you know, think how to become open. And it was like very interactive training. So I believe that it is important to make a use of somebody's experience and try to test and check what works for us. Okay. Experimenting helped me also to start building community around GLAM Wiki. For me, like, building community around GLAM Wiki was a challenge, and last year we had a editathon in the National Museum in Krakow, and the participants of the editathon were only Wikipedians. We didn't manage to encourage newbies to come. But this year, we are organizing Wiki Matejko. It's editing action. This is a 3-month process of learning Wikipedia and also developing articles about Jan Matejko by newbies. And this time, we managed to recruit over 20 people. And these are mainly students of history of art and other humanities studies. So I think it's a great success, and this is a great change, but it was a long path to get to this point. If you would like to know more about Wiki Matejko, I would love to talk about it more after the presentation. What I think is also very important is to be brave enough to share the failures and also the paths to the success. For me, failures are even more important than success, because I tend to remember those lessons better. And it's even better to learn from somebody's failures, because then you can avoid them, or at least not to repeat them. And I really like when I read the GLAM Wiki newsletter, this month in GLAM newsletter. I really like when people share their reflections, not only, you know, describe the event, because when they share their reflections, it becomes more lesson than only information. So for me, it is a great place to just see what our others experience. The lesson which is also important during these 2 years is to be skeptical to my work and open knowledge as well. This is the sentence, to be skeptical to your work. This is the sentence that I heard from the director of the National Museum in Krakow. Yeah, and this is something that I really believe, because it helps us to, you know, see others' perspective. And to better understand that maybe not everybody is ready to work with us, and that's okay. So, yeah, I believe that this is very important, to not to criticize maybe our partners, but try to understand why they are acting this way, for example. And last one, it's not only inspiration, but I think it's more recommendation to all of us. Don't burn out yourself and volunteers. I believe that at our work as a GLAM Wiki people, it is important to share our enthusiasm to open knowledge. So it is even more important than overworking ourselves, to work beyond our capacity. So this is I think it's the toughest lesson that I have, because I'm slowly becoming aware that contributing to open knowledge takes time, and that it is really okay, yeah, that our work is important, that no matter how hard we work. So I would like to just encourage you to take care of yourselves. Thank you very much.
If you have any questions, preguntas.
This is an observation, but I think it's an important reminder that it's very easy to talk about not burning out your volunteers from a paid position. which is a position of financial privilege. And as mostly a volunteer, I think, who has been burnt out by work on the behalf of the foundation, I think there needs to be more constructive thinking about how to avoid this burnout, and rather than just saying, let's not do it, because that's not helpful, really.
I totally agree. This is the lesson that I'm still learning. It's not easy, you know. It's very hard, because I think what is even more hard is it is the strong belief that we have that we do important things. And yeah, it's the recommendation that I also give to myself. Yeah. But thank you.
This is a question for Xavier. You mentioned a study about the Europeana and Open GLAM licensing. My question is, do you know if this study or some other covers some situation in which European intellectual property law has exceptions compared to, for example, the United States law for public domain works? I mean, I'm looking for some cases that are public domain but are not compatible with publishing resources, digital resources in the United States, because the law is different, because this distinction in Europe. Just asking.
I understand the context, but I'm not sure to exactly understand your question. Is it some example you are looking for about in Europe?
Well, I recently found we have in Spain not really an exception, but a particular case of the mere photography, of non-artistic photography, which passed to public domain in just 25 years.
Okay.
And as far as we understand, this is not compatible to uploading these public domain images to the servers in the United States. So I'm wondering if there are more cases like this, not exactly this one, but others that could deserve deep study.
For the side of France, there is no so much problem to clearly understand the images from the domain public stay in the domain public. There is only the 70 years after the death of the author. This is really clear about that. The difficulties mainly come from the confusion of the fact that, for example, the license CC0, that is international, is limited by the local law, and people don't understand that the moral right in France is like the CC BY. You have, anyway, to mention the author. So you have a museum from Paris that put the images into CC0. Someone in the United States or in Japan can use it in CC0, but in France, if you use in France, you have to use with the local law that is like a CC BY, you know. And the other tricky part is not with the public domain, is most with the artistic signature of a work or not. For example, when you have a photography who is really like the artworks in front of, is not work for the 3D works, but like the sculpture, for example. But if you take a photo of an artwork who is really close to the artwork, there is no work, artist's work with the light, with the other stuff. You can't put copyright on that. But there are some tricky parts. For example, I remember a case who was involved into Europe, right? That's a photographer, professional photographer for the children in classroom. I wanted to get some copyright from this photo. The France refuses in the trial, but at the European level, they accepted the request from the photographer. So we confront sometimes to contradictions between the French law and the European one. I'm not sure this is the kind of example you wanted, but this is the one I have.
Any more questions? Okay, so thank you. Thank you very much.